Hey, thanks for tuning in for another edition of Halloran and Sage's interview series. With me today is appellate attorney Laura Zaino. Laura, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me, Nico.
All right, let's jump right into it. As an appellate advocate, you've handled cases from multi-million-dollar contract disputes to professional malpractice to family issues. Tell me about an appeal that stands out in your memory.
Oh, well, honestly, every one of my appeals stands out for one reason or another. It happened at argument or an aspect of briefing or a particular issue or outcome. But I guess the one that I think about or remember the most, or I'm happiest about, I shouldn't say happiest, but that means a lot to me, is an appeal we took on behalf of an appellant defendant in a dram shop liquor liability case that actually never even got to the briefing stage or to the pre-argument conference stage. And I want to preface this by saying that most of the appeals that I've handled to date are civil appeals, or actually all of the appeals that I've handled to date are civil appeals, and most come to me after the trial court proceedings, as opposed to where I sit there sometimes and participate and get to know people during the trial.
Right.
So this appeal followed a jury trial, and the jury entered a verdict against my client, a bar, in favor of the plaintiffs who were injured in their motor vehicle when it was struck by another motor vehicle that was driven by somebody that they claimed had been served too much at this bar. Our firm didn't try the case, which, a lot of our appeals do come in-house. This one didn't. And the attorney who did try the case couldn't take it. I think, if I recall, it was because he was retiring. And so another appellate attorney that I know through various organizations actually gave Steve, our client, my name because she couldn't handle it either. So he called me, and there were issues with insurance, and unlike a lot of other of our defense appeals, I would be dealing directly with him. And I did, through thick and thin. We met, we spoke quite often, and we had some great appellate issues, and Steve understood that. But he also made me understand at the get-go that if there was any way that we could, figure out a way to resolve this matter, he hadn't been able to date, that really was his end game. So, but I also had these great issues that were very exciting to me. But I understood that, and he wasn't particularly optimistic because of who our opponents were, and I knew our opponents too, and so I understood where he was coming from. It would be tough, but we proceeded. We took the appeal, and I actually engaged the assistance of Paul Mead, a partner here as well, because he had done a lot of dram shop work. Dare I say he's an expert? I know maybe I'm not supposed to say that, but in my mind he is. Okay, he has a wealth of knowledge.
Absolutely.
So I did what I love to do working here is team up with and take advantage of the experts and the knowledge that we have here. So Paul and I developed a strategy. I filed the appeal. I filed a detailed statement of issues, and there were a lot, and a motion for articulation, which actually the judge granted. I think the trial judge knew that there were problems, and so too, especially after we did all that preliminary work, our opponents, they probably knew going in, but they all, we exploited them, certainly. And so, at that point, we pressed the plaintiffs, and we were able to negotiate a resolution, I think, that was even better than Steve might have hoped for. And so we settled it, and it stands out for me in my mind for a couple of reasons. you know, again, a lot of the appeals that I handle don't usually lend themselves to such client contact. So this one did, and he was happy. But because of that contact, I was really able to comprehend that happiness. But, you know, also there were great, like I said, great issues on appeal. And I would, as an appellate lawyer, would love to have pursued them. But it made, it forced me to understand that, the right result and the win here was the outcome that made my client the happiest. And, we're still in touch, to this day. It was just truly a great experience and a nice unconventional win, I suppose.